Welcome to the next video. We're going to deal with password recovery in this one, or at least the basics of it, and get that all working. And Serverpod has a good solution for this, so I don't think it'll be that much effort, but let's find out. Okay, so we have a login form, which is great. And basically what I want to do on the login form, and we can go login form component. What I would like to do is maybe what we do is we have a little like forgot password button. So we'll wrap this in a row and we'll have another button here, but we'll just use a text button for this and it'll be an on pressed and it'll have some text that says forgot password. And we'll save that. And we should see that there. Now in our row, we can do main axis alignment to space them between each other. Put space between. So now you have the login over here and you have this over here. Looks all right. Looks good enough. So in our onPressed event, this is where we're going to get them to essentially reset their password. So the first thing we're going to need is their email. So we can actually use our, I think we have something called, isn't dialog utils? Let's look up that. Dialog utils. Yeah, oh, we have the prompt dialog. That's what it's called. So we can actually go prompt dialog .show, and we can be like email. Now we need to make this async because we need to await the result for this. And your email address. What else can we do here? We can set an initial value. So we could actually take whatever they have typed in here. That might be helpful. So we'll actually just use the email controller.text as sort of like the initial value. Then, what else can we have? Well, let's just see how this looks so far. So if I click this, we get this little thing, your email address. Get to submit. So we can also make the confirm text say reset password or something. Reset password, cool. Then, in the case that our email is not null, so let's just check if email does not equal null, because they might have just canceled. And email.isNotEmpty, do something. We can also, I think we have the ability to have a validator here. So we can actually use our form validator, was it form utils, validation utils dot form validator email. And just by doing that, we can actually validate. Remember, this is just a simple check. It checks to see if it's null and not empty, and then it checks to see if it's valid, which this is just a regular expression. And because this validator function is expecting a function with string like this shape, and we are conforming to that, we can actually just pass reference to this instead of the other way of doing it would actually be val and then pass the val in again. That's totally fine. You can do it that way, and sometimes you have to, but in this case, we can just pass reference to it, and it's super nice. So the cool thing about doing that is we'll already know it's a valid email if it's not null because of the way our logic works in our prompt dialog. We have a check when someone clicks the submit button or whatever we're overriding with confirm text, where we actually validate it ahead of time. So if I was to just type in some random garbage and click reset password, you'll see invalid email. And let's just see if what I did here works by having something like that. Forgot password. Look, it's already put in there. That's a nice user experience thing right there and was not much effort. Okay, so assuming we have someone, now we actually need to call our reset password method, which we have not done yet. So let's go to our auth service. This is where we have the login with email, register with email, confirm email, email available, user log out. I feel like before log out, it makes sense. So let's have a future either a string, meaning an error happened, or I think void. I don't think we're going to get any feedback from this, or we can always change that. And we're going to have something called request password reset, because this is a two-step process, right? The first will be like, send me a code. The second will be, actually doing it. So we'll make it async, and we'll have a try catch here. And we'll just return, let's just return the e.to string if something went wrong. But we have, of course, return left on this. And then in our try, what are we actually doing? Well, we're going to go await client dot it's not user, that's our own methods. We want to use modules dot auth dot, let's just see, pass dot what was the next thing in it? .email .reset. It's not reset password, it's initiate password reset. So what does this do? It's requiring us to pass an email in, which is exactly what we intended to do here. So we'll have email here, and we'll do email. Let's see what this actually returns. D equals this. This will be a bool. Okay, so I guess we can, yeah, let's actually look at the code for this. Oh, actually, this is hard to see the code for because it's server side. Initiates password reset and sends the email reset code to the user. So let's actually make this, I think it can still be void, because what we can do is we'll call this success. And we can go if success, let's just return right, and we can just pass in null here because we're returning basically void. Otherwise, we're going to return left and pass in something went wrong. I have no idea what went wrong, but something went wrong. So we'll do that. So now we have the way to request a password reset. So where do we want to do this now? Well, we have an auth provider. I think that's where we're actually doing this sort of stuff. So I don't want to talk directly to the service. I'd rather talk here, and we'll just do a future. This can also be, I guess in this case, we'll use a bool, and we'll do request password reset. Let's actually just make sure our naming is consistent. Request password reset. Let's actually call it initiate password reset in all of our cases. There's no need to use something different. And this will, of course, have a string of email. And all we need to do is basically go final result equals await ref.read, and we want to read our auth service provider, and we want to call .initiate password reset email. And we can go result.fold, and in this case we will do, this would be error. So we can maybe just, I mean, I don't really want to affect the auth state in this case, so we'll come back to that. Maybe we'll just like print the error for now. I don't think there'll be a problem. And then here, this is essentially a void value, right? Like this is going to be void, so we don't have to call it anything. And we would then, in this case, update the state to something else. So let's just say print success for now and not do anything. Okay, this is saying, oh, because it needs to actually return. So let's go return, and we'll return true in this case, and we'll return false in this case. Our errors are now gone. Okay, so back in our form component here, we can actually go ref.read and use our auth provider.notifier to call that, and we want to actually pass in that email. And we can do something like this, final success equals await, because we might want to, do something differently here. Maybe we show a toast. We have like toast utils, right? Toast. We can have something that's like, check your email for your password reset link code, something like that. And we also want to make sure anytime we are doing context after an async is we're going to check if context.mounted do this. Otherwise, we'll get some lovely error. We also should be wrapping this in a success. Okay, cool. So let's just save everything, and let's go to the server and go to the server.dart. We set this up a long time ago. We have the send password reset email function here, I think because it's just a required thing. And all we're doing right now is we're actually going to print it to the console, just like the setup. So let's just see if this actually works. Let's go forgot password, click reset password. Actually, I need to use one that actually has an account. Okay, check your email, and you'll see we got a code here. Yay! So I'm thinking about this in a couple different ways we could do it. A lot of the time with a password reset, you actually get a link that you click. However, with that, we would need to get deep linking figured out so that we can bring people to a specific spot in the app based on that link. Or we'd be bringing them to web, which might not be ideal because if they already have the app, they're probably using the app. There's more thought that needs to go into that. So we are just going to, at least temporarily, although this is probably a good thing to support, we're just going to have a way where people can type in that code to actually reset it. So I want to remember how this works, but if we go to our auth provider and look at auth state, let's just look at auth state. We already kind of have something similar to this, auth state verification code required when you're signing up. And I think we can do something pretty similar here. And we'll do auth state password reset. Let's again keep the names kind of the same. What do we call this? Initiate password reset. So password reset code required. I mean, yeah, that seems fine to me. And here, we're not going to be passing a password. I think it's just the email. And the only reason we want the email is just so we have it kind of kept in memory in a simple way. So we now have a new auth state. So if we go back to our auth provider, where we are initiating the password reset, we are, when there's a success, instead of printing the word success, we're going to make state equal to this. And we're just going to forward that email through to keep it in memory. So state equals this. Now, in our logging form component, I believe we already have, we would have done this at least in the register. So let's just take a look how that works. Register form component. So remember in here we had something, not in the listener, but in here, auth state verification code required. Yeah, we were kind of checking stuff. So I'm going to kind of copy this. And this was right before the normal form. And we're going to do something similar, except we're going to check if auth state is, and I guess it's not called auth state. What do we call it? I guess it's, because there's probably a variable we set. Yeah. So let's actually grab this guy. And I just want to put this right at the top here. So we go if auth state is auth state verification code required. But again, we don't want to use this. We want to use our new guy. If it is this, then we do some stuff. So now we need some new kind of things on our form. I don't think we want to call it verification form key. We're going to call this password reset form key. And we'll call this password reset code controller. And yeah, that actually, we can have this message here. And same with this, we do that. So let's make a little more space for everyone at home. We need to make these form keys. So our form key should be, oh, it's just right here. Okay, so we'll duplicate our form key, and we're just going to call it this. Oops, this one, although it wouldn't have mattered. And then we need to make sure we have a controller for this. And we, of course, want to make sure that these all get disposed. So we'll do password reset controller.dispose. Okay, so if the auth state is this little thing that we just made, we are going to go and have this. Yeah, we can still call it verification code from the user's point of view. Then we do a validation on it, which I guess, oh yeah, we have making sure it's not empty. Then the difference is now we don't actually want to confirm the email registration. We're going to do something different here. So I'll comment this out. And let's just, before we get to that, just so everyone can kind of catch up with what might be going on here, let's just see if what we've done even works. So I'm going to click this because it gives me the, ability to log in. Click forgot password, and we'll do Tyler3 reset password. So then we have this thing with a verification code. And something else I realized we need we also need to actually set a new password. The good thing is we can actually, in theory, use the same password widget here. So let's find that password controller. I'm just going to grab the same password controller, and we'll put this here too because we want to ask them for a new password. Cool. And remember, this is kind of the lo-fi way of doing this. When we get to like deep linking and stuff, you won't have to type this in. You'll hit a link, which will kind of be putting it into the state automatically, and then it'll just be like, hey, give me a new password after it verifies it. But we just want to get this working, and this will work. So I'm actually even going to use the same password controller. The only downside of this is if someone already was typing a password, it's already going to be pre-filled with it. So maybe we should use a new controller. So let's just call the label new password, and then we're going to make another one called I want to call it like password reset new password controller, just to make it really clear. And these are all things to do it. Let's actually break these up. And I'll put a comment here, password reset. So we'll use this now in our new one, just so that that one little edge case doesn't happen. We don't really want it pre-filled with something that's kind of sketchy seeming, especially with a password. But everything else should be good. And then we actually have this new password. Cool. So well, maybe not lastly, but let's go to our auth service again. And I'm going to duplicate our initiate password reset and just change something here. We're going to do reset password is the one we want to go. And you'll see this is requiring that verification code and the new password essentially. So for this, we want to type in the, we'll just call it the verification code. And we'll just call it new password, just to make it really clear. And we'll just call this reset password, or I kind of want to like make it specific that it's like initiate password. Let's call it complete password reset. So it's like initiate and complete. So we call that, and then the things we need to pass in, if we look at this, is a verification code is the first parameter, and the new password. Now, what does this actually return? Bool, yay! So we have that, and yeah, we can kind of react with if it wasn't a success, something went wrong. That is totally fine with me. Okay, so we have it in the auth service, but similarly, we need to put it in our auth provider as well. So I'm going to copy this because it will be kind of similar, and we will do a complete password reset. Complete password reset, and we're just going to pull these guys over. There is sort of this, it feels like we're duplicating stuff, but this is the service. This is meant for just kind of like firing off the request and returning what it needs, and handling errors and that kind of stuff. Whereas our provider needs to also talk to this thing in the most simplest way, but also manage state of auth in this case. And that's why these are two separate things. If we were just dealing directly with the service, our UI wouldn't be able to sort of like automatically update, because we wouldn't have the ability to go state equals this new thing, which that would be a problem. Or alternatively, if we put all this logic in here, it's a little bit messy. It doesn't let us use, our ethers, which would be annoying. And most importantly, like this keeps our backend kind of agnostic, right? In the case that we wanted to like replace this with Django or something else, like in theory, this auth service is all that would have to change. Everything else would still, kind of work. Now, that could be better if we were doing full clean architecture. That's kind of the goal of clean architecture, keeping everything compartmentalized, keeping it as mockable, all that kind of stuff. But I purposely, decided, I don't need to do clean architecture. I think it's great. I've done videos on it. I think it's overkill for a startup. I think if you're doing that, you're never going to get to market because it's a lot of like extra work and tediousness. And I'm happy with the tech stack, So there we go. That's my blurb. So complete password reset. We need to now pass in our verification code and the new password. And this will still be whatever. And now we need to actually log them in. So that's interesting. Let's not worry about that yet. Let's take this one thing at a time, but we'll just do something like password changed. Yay. So we'll just make sure that that actually kind of worked. So let's go through this flow again from a full restart. I will click this. I will log in. Oops, I forgot my password. tyler3@tylersavory.com. Reset password. Check your email. So I'm checking my email. Again, this is my email. And let's pass that in. Yes, I will allow paste. That's fine. We can see the value. And then I'll make a new password. I'm going to use something and click submit. And hopefully here we should see in our debug console, oh no, something went wrong. Something went wrong. What did we do? What did we miss? We didn't actually hook up the submit button to this thing. Oh gosh. So we'll do ref.read auth provider.notifier. This would be complete password reset. Verification code we basically get from our password reset code controller .text, and new password. It's going to be our new password, or what do we call it? Password reset new password controller .text. pass that in. Yeah, let's see if it works. There we go, password change. Yay, so I've changed my password. We're done. Okay, so now what I would like to do is when someone resets their password, the thing that annoys me the most with password resets in the real world, and it's just because it's like lazy, I guess, is a lot of the time you'll reset your password and it'll be like, great, you reset your password, now log in. But like, if we gave the user, if we trusted the user enough to be like, you can change the password, I think we can trust the user enough to log them in. I think it's just foolish laziness. So I want this to basically be, as soon as you do a password reset, we're going to log you in. Because you're obviously, I mean, if you're not, like, it doesn't matter because we've already trusted you, based on this. You have access to that email. That's like the source of truth that we're betting on. Or in this case, really, you have access to this console because we're not actually sending an email yet. But yeah, let's just figure out how we can log them in. And we've kind of done something like this before, right? If we go to our, let's actually just open up our auth provider. When we do the login with email, when we do the register with email and we do the confirm, we're confirming, and then we're actually going and running the, wait, where does this happen? It happens somewhere. Yes. So in our service, actually, yeah, we do a confirm email register, and then we actually go and log them in. So I think we can do something similar, and I'll do it in the service as well. So here we have this. The only thing is we don't know their email at this case, so we're going to have to make some subtle changes here, but that's fine. But what I want to do is essentially return right where we log them in after we've done this, and we need to use their new password that they just did. And we need to get this email somehow. So let's work through that. And something I friggin' love about a type-safe program, or programming like Dart, this is something like you can't really get out of JavaScript. You can out of like TypeScript. Python, I mean, unless you have a really good IDE with the right plugins, you won't really get it. But with Dart, it's like awesome. I can just go, okay, string new password. Let's just make it the third parameter. String email. So now it's like, cool, I'm saying to use that, and we have our email. Everything's great. There's no errors here, but we're getting other errors. So now we can go to our problems tab, and we can literally just kind of step through this and be like, okay, we need to pass in an email here. Sure, I will. Oh, I don't have that. So let's go string email and make this something that we need. And we can just walk backwards to solve this problem, which is hard to do in some languages. And now it's like, okay, we need an email now. Do we have email here? I feel like we do, because in our state, or it's called auth state.email, we have this. And just to sort of remind you how this worked, remember we're checking right here if auth state is password reset code required. And I told you, like, I want to capture this, keep it in memory for some secret reason. And the reason is, and where do we do this again? We set it here. We're using that email when we initiate it in there. And it's so that we just have it. It's in memory. It's ready to go. So now, in theory, let's try this all over again. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to log in. I'm going to forget my password. I'm going to do tyler3@tylersavory.com. Reset password. Verification code we need. We just have to wait for iOS to be like, yeah, allow the paste, because I don't want to type that in. Yep, that's the right one. And let's make a password. I'm going to just use a different password than I have been using, just so that we can really make sure it works. Click submit. Okay, that seemed to work. And oh yes, oh, okay, wait, return. Oh yes, we missed one thing. Sorry guys, we missed one thing. So we are doing this, but let's just see, where do we do this? Where did we do this before? Because we actually need to kind of change. So let's log in with email. Yeah, we want to actually return user info from our new one here, not void anymore. So we're going to return user info in the right, which is great. Then let's just search up confirm email register. Where do we call this? It's in our auth provider, obviously. I think. Yeah, auth provider, confirm email to the provider. So we want to do something like this too, where we actually handle based on this result. So let's go back to our auth provider where we have our new code, which should be right here, complete password reset. And you'll see now this result is user info. It's no longer just a Boolean or void or whatever it was before. And we can basically do this same sort of thing. In the case that it's success, we're going to get the user, And again, the reason we have to do this is because we want to get our full user, not just the user that Serverpod has for us. Because remember, our user has like all of our custom fields, bios, links, all this kind of stuff too. So we'll get our user result, and assuming the user result worked, we're just going to kind of do this stuff and actually update the state. Now, I don't think we have to worry about returning stuff here. Let's just do a future void, because essentially we'll have, these sorts of things, an error, a gate, guest, all that kind of stuff. So let's try this again from the get-go, although it might have still just worked from that case. I'm not quite sure. Oh, I am logged in, right. So the login part actually worked from Serverpod's point of view. It put the token in memory, all that kind of stuff. But we want the UI to reflect accordingly. So how do we log out of this guy? Let's log out. Okay, so now let's just do a full refresh, just to be safe. And we're going to log in. Forgot password. Okay, tyler3@tylersavory.com. Reset password. Okay, check my email. Here I am checking my secret little terminal email, and we'll paste in that code, allow paste, and I'm going to make it something, submit. And that's actually really awesome. I forgot we did that. It's because we're using these like auth guard sort of things, it actually made me log in, and then it pushed me through to where I was supposed to go. So that's kind of cool. And now if I was to click this again, I'll be able to do it. All right, everything is working. We have a password reset. The only thing missing is the fact that we want to obviously send an email. That would be ideal, so that they could read it. Because right now only me sitting at my desk can actually get it. But that's no problem. We might do that soon actually. And then, the other thing is, like, ideally we would do some kind of deep linking. So it would be, the code would be like, it would kind of be like a URL that we're pointing someone to, and they would click that link. It would load the app with that sort of code already. And then instead of typing out the verification code, it's kind of like hidden behind the scenes in like a hidden field essentially. And you're just typing in the new password. That's the ideal world, but I think this was like most of it. And now we have a way to do it. I just want to test while I'm here the fact that I want to make sure my password actually did change. So I'm just going to log in like normal and use that new password that I used. I used the new one twice. I didn't want to flip back because I wanted to make sure the new one works. And we're good. Now, we know that this doesn't work. That's just because we had an old way of logging in, and now we have a new way. But anyways, long story short, we are good. Okay, cool. I'm going to leave it there for this video. We got, the bulk of password reset working, which was another thing in the comments and questions that I've had in my Discord and in I think just on YouTube itself. So thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.